Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful start to the week. I apologize, but my hair is really messy today because it is a hair washing day, and so it is extra curly and it's wet and I'm waiting for it to dry. But today's video is going to be a plant chore. So specifically, it's going to be Operation Save These Propagations. Basically what these are, they're cuttings from my Syngonium, and I feel like I might have thrown some other ones in here that I can't remember. There's also random seeds in here that I don't think are doing anything, so we might check those out. I'm not 100% sure. The seeds are actually papaya seeds that I'm trying to germinate, so not sure what's going on there. I had some in like soil that I threw out because it was like really moldy, and so I might just check these out too. I will stick the date of when I started these cuttings or node cuttings, and then I'll also like put the time frame that it's been since this video, so you know how long these have been in here. I did switch the substrate up at some point. So I started out with just perlite, and then at some point I just didn't feel like it was doing anything and it was a little bit too compact. And so I added some sphagnum moss in there, and pretty much after I added the moss, it kind of exploded in a little bit more growth. And now you can see that we have a bit of a problem. Obviously, moss and perlite is not this color, so we have a lot of algae growth going on in here. It isn't 100% humidity. I am curious if drilling a hole in here to add a little bit of airflow might help, but I did also see that some people like to add a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in there to kind of aid with that algae growth prevention. And so we're gonna try that before I start drilling any holes, because so far it's working out perfectly fine like this. I'm also planning on switching the container for all my like node propagation stuff to a kind of like that clear drawer instead. I'll stick a video because I just found one, but it wasn't perfect, so I didn't get it. But something like that, so that way I can kind of access it a little bit easier, because I do tend to like put little things on top, and it gets annoying to have to like move everything out and then take them out versus like the drawer. And I do think the drawer is a good idea because you can actually control the amount of oxygen flow going in there. So instead of drilling holes, I can just like leave a crack open, if that makes sense. But anyway, without further ado, let's go on to the potting station and take a look at these babies. So we have a lot of friends with us today. That's okay, as long as they don't try to eat it, which they never really do. I think they're just really liking the sunlight right now. But anyway, so let's go over some materials here that we're working with. So I have a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. Well, this is a huge jar, but we're going to use like a drop. And then we also have this Clonex that I just got. I heard good things about it. I have a rooting powder that is probably, I don't know, like 7 years old or something like that. So I figured let's try something different out. And so I have that, really excited to use it. It's a gel format, so it's a little bit different from what I'm used to. I have my shears. I have some alcohol prep pads to kind of clean my shears with. Yes, I'm aware these are huge shears. I still need to invest and get a smaller one. I don't know if I want to emulsify one, maybe like something a little bit different. Have my fish poop. You guys know I love this stuff. I don't even know why I love this stuff, I just do. And then I also have some sphagnum moss in here. The moss brand that I'm using is this one. I'll link in the bio for you guys. Highly recommend getting good quality moss. Don't just pick up random ones. I think I'll do a video on that for you guys, because I do think people pick the wrong moss a lot of times. And it's not like it doesn't work, it's just not like worth your money. I just got this container because I wanted a new mixing container that's a little bit better looking than the other one, and also something I can kind of like see through the whole thing. So this is actually like a veggie container that I got from Home Goods. It does come with this little net thing, which I do think is great, because sometimes I do like to clean off my plants, especially when I bring them from the nursery, and I may not want to clean it off with like tap water. So having this to kind of like pour my reverse osmosis water to clean the roots, this is great. The other thing I really liked about this is that it has these like hole things, so you can adjust it so you can have airflow versus no airflow. Obviously this is very little airflow, but let's say if I think it's mostly dry and I'm not sure, I can still leave this open so I'm not trapping moisture in there. And then of course I just have some reverse osmosis water that I have in my glass watering can. I'm gonna start off by cleaning up my shears first because it actually looks kind of gross. Before we even get into the cuttings, I'm actually going to rehydrate this moss with some water. Kind of push it all on that side, pour some water in there. So we have kind of rehydrated it. I'm going to let that sit. We're going to start taking these cuttings out, starting with this first piece. I'm going to try to move as much of this off. Is that a root or is that, I can't tell if that's a moss or root, but I'm going to put that right there. And just to kind of show you guys what these are looking like, some of them have this really nice root growing out of it, and then you'll see that there is a activated auxiliary bud here. This one was like a super long one, and this one, auxiliary bud's right here. So taking everything out, I'm actually going to go ahead and dump this and then clean everything. We're going to move the moss in here once this is clean, and then we're going to use the container to actually wash these and then put them back into the moss, the new moss. I have a clean container now. I'm going to put that to the side. But the moss that's been sitting there, I'm going to spray some of this stuff on there real quick. Mix it around a little bit. So now I'm going to transfer it over into the container. Boba, can you get out? It's just moss. Kick. Now that I have the moss ready, I have put that to the side. I'm actually going to put these right in here. So we are going to actually use our little grate thing, and I'm just gonna pour some water to see if I can run these extra bits of perlite off of these and try to give it a nice clean so I can get rid of as much algae as I can off of these. I washed them all. This thing is working amazing just to get the little bits of perlite off of it. Before we even start messing with that, I'm actually going to add a little bit of the hydrogen peroxide in here, and we're literally going to do just like a little drop because we definitely don't want too much in here. So I'm just going to pour a tiny little bit. That's it. Maybe a little. That's all we're gonna add in there. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of a mixture, mix it up. So here is the cloning gel. I'm going to kind of dip these roots into the cloning gel, see if we can get a little bit more growth out of these. This one, there's no active root that we can see growing, so I'm just gonna dip it down to the roots. I have cleaned off my working space here. We're gonna work on getting these little suckers into the moss. Let's zoom on in so you can see what I'm doing. At least. So we're gonna take a piece here And again, we dipped the bottom side, meaning auxiliary bud is pointing up and the roots are going to grow downward. So we're going to place it in this direction. I'm going to chop off extra bits that we don't need. I just don't want too many of these things hanging out, because the more of these stems that we don't need chilling here, the more chances it'll kind of rot. And so I want to minimize that. I'm gonna dig a little hole right over here, not too deep because we still need some moss down there. And then I'm just gonna stick that in there and then cover it with a little bit of moss so it has a little bit of humidity. Next piece, same thing, auxiliary bud pointing up, roots on the bottom, chop off extras, and then we're gonna stick it in there. Here is our finished, upgraded little babies in their new home. Hopefully the hydrogen peroxide is going to help this out. I'm going to pop the lid back on there and we're going to stick them right back into the growing cabinet. And there they go. And I do put some other cuttings on top. Honestly, I haven't had any issues because of that. This guy is pretty much ready to be potted, so I will probably do that. So that is the end of today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know it's not like the most exciting video that I have done, but I did want to take you guys along for the journey of propagating these Syngoniums that I've done, and show you guys like some hit or misses that I'm experiencing here. I am really hoping that the hydrogen peroxide is going to help with that, and I am going to do updated videos to show you guys the growth process of these, when I'm going to replant them and all that stuff. I do find propagation is very, very exciting and interesting to me, so hopefully you guys were able to learn something from this. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional, so I'm not saying that this is the right way and that's the wrong way or anything like that. I know there are so many way more experienced people out there that do things a little bit differently, and I'm just really showing you my journey and how I chose to kind of take care of my plants. Which leads to a quick conversation before I close this video out. If you guys have stuck around until now, thank you so much for watching this whole video and being here for this conversation. I really wanted to kind of like guide you guys on like some videos that I'm looking at making very, very soon. So one of them is gonna be about kind of like a 101 beginners to plants, and giving you guys like recommendations on like what type of plants works best, things to think about. Are you even a good candidate to have plants? Let's just be honest here. Some people are not good candidates for plants, and we have to be realistic with that. And also kind of like talk about like what is like a realistic amount of plants to buy as well, because I do think it's really easy to get sucked into like the media of like, you know, when you see amazing YouTubers and TikTokers and Instagrammers out there that have these beautiful homes filled with plants, we are not seeing the backside of everything, which is the hours and hours of plant care. And we all have jobs, we all have lives, and so I do think making a video to kind of set that expectation out there is gonna help a lot of us. I think I was definitely one of the people that fell victim to that feeling of like, I need all the plants. And I also wanted to do some videos on kind of like my wish list for plants. I do not have like an outrageous amount of plants anymore. I think I have like a good amount, and I'm not into like collecting plants like I used to anymore. And so I kind of wanted to kind of like do conversations about that, a little cozy video. And also I'm really good at like finding things that work for plants that are not made for plants. So I did want to do a video on that as well, because I did go to like Home Goods yesterday, and it made me really think about how if you think things in a different direction, you can actually find things that work really well. Like honestly, more aesthetic too. So anyway, that's some things that I want to go into with this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.